The race for Fed chair looks to be entering its final phase. Said this a few, or does it? Because now we're back to 4 or 5 again.
It's 4.
Senior,
you missed the dropping of the 1 when you were out.
No, but I was reading it this morning. Both Kevins are back in, Waller's in, and Reeder's in. Right, okay, I saw that. Senior economics reporter Steve Liesman joins us with the details. Hey, Steve.
Joe, President Trump's extended search for the next Fed chair reaching the endgame with a flurry of both backroom and public politics. And people familiar with the situation say the president could name the next Fed chair by the first week of January, maybe a little bit later, after interviewing the last candidate, Rick Reeder, in the final week of the year at Mar-a-Lago. One question remains a mystery. Where does Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent stand in all of this? Here's a little bit of the tale of the tape. September, Bessent announces the Fed chair interview process, potential candidates. He begins interviews, and then he writes an article sharply critical of the Fed, calling for reform in a way that Kevin Warsh had. October 10th, CNBC reported that Bessent narrowed the short list from 11 down to 5 candidates. November 30th, Trump telling reporters, President Trump, that is, I know who I'm going to pick, and everyone thinks it's Kevin Hassett. December 2nd, the Fed candidate White House interviews appeared to be canceled. They were back on December 10th. Interviews held with Warsh and then another interview held with Waller that we reported on Friday. He said it was a strong interview. So it's unclear how these interviews got back on track. There's been pushback on Wall Street against Hassett, as reported by CNBC, Politico, and the Financial Times, that have said in part there's an organized campaign that he was too close to the president, but also appears to be organic pushback. Bessent has, on his own, pushed back to defend Hassett. That criticism could have prompted the administration to put those interviews back on track, leading to some volatility you can see in the Kalshi prediction market. Those are monthly changes you see on your left there. The odds have now steadied with Hassett the clear leader. People familiar with the situation say Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent does not want to favor any candidate because he knows it's the president's choice. Also knows his predecessor is continually blamed by President Trump for the pick of Fed Chair Powell, which he didn't like. Now, one person familiar with the president's thinking told me, this is the most powerful man in the world making one of the most important decisions of his administration. A committee is not going to decide. Joe, having looked at all of this and talking to, I don't know, a lot of people over the weekend, I can't find Bessent putting his finger on the scale for any particular candidate. What looks like he does, he may put his finger on the scale to bring it back to neutral, so the president has a choice between all these candidates, but I don't see him favoring anyone over another one yet.
I mean, I had heard about that Waller story that you talked about. To me, it looked totally like a trial balloon, like a market check on what leaking that Waller. Why would they leak Waller had a strong interview without wanting to make the market think
that Waller was a candidate?
That Waller was a candidate and see how it reacted, or what the public.
Well, having been the person reporting that story, who broke that story, I don't know that I can understand the motive. As much as there were some people who said to me,
when they give that to you, don't you ask yourself, why are they giving this to me?
I do.
And what was your conclusion?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Okay. I don't. Do you know? I mean, you think it's?
I think Hassett was getting hammered. I'm not really sure it's fair.
Right.
And I think they want to say, look, it might not be Hassett. In fact, Waller just had a really strong interview. What do you think of this guy?
What's your interest in that, Joe?
Because
that through.
Because he's at wanting to cut 50. So here's another guy who definitely is in the president's, shares the president's thinking on lower rates. Let's put him up and see how that looks if we're worried about Hassett not looking independent.
You don't have to put him up to see how that looks. You remember our Fed survey that showed 84% think Hassett's going to be picked.
But is he a way of satisfying Wall Street's concerns about Hassett and still getting your 50 basis points immediate cut?
Maybe. I mean, Waller's going to do. Look, there's a thinking about Waller that I think is maybe not appreciated, which is that it may be that the administration is beginning to understand the chair himself cannot cut rates. They need the committee. Right. So who's your best person to have in that job if you want to get rates? It may be Waller in that case. And like I said, the vibe we get from people we talk to say they like Waller. Now, that's a thing that's like normal on Wall Street, where we like the guy we know. And we like the guy we know in the position that he's already been in a sense, right? So that's sort of Wall Street saying, give us something known here.